before we look at the wiring, let's look at the description and operation real quick of the EGR system. It does make a note that it only operates under specific temperature, pressure, and load conditions. So ideally not at idle and not at wide open throttle. We only want that during cruise. And then temperature conditions, that's probably referencing that it only is open when the car is warmed up. So it says right here, linear exhaust gas recirculation valve. So it has a position sensor built into it, as well as the plunger underneath here that connects this side on the back and this side on the front. Also right here it says the EGR valve is controlled by a high side driver within the PCM, and it is pulse width modulated to 12 volts. So we'll look at the wiring in a second and I'll bring that back up, but keep that in mind. Another interesting thing to point out down here is that the PCM tests the EGR briefly when the car is decelerating and there's no load on it by temporarily commanding the EGR valve open while monitoring the map signal. So it says right here it should expect an increase in map, but if that's not detected, then it records the amount of map to see what was detected and adjusts a calibrated fail counter, which is basically how it keeps that monitor on it to see if it's going to fail or to see if it's failing or not.
So here we have the wiring diagram for the EGR. And so on this left side over here, this is going to be your signal side. So this is going to be your EGR positive signal, which is this pink and yellow wire. This tan and dark green wire, that's going to be your low reference signal. And this gray and black wire is going to be your 5 volt reference. The signal side, this runs on 5 volts. And the control side, it's going to be just these two wires, which is the orange and white. That's going to be your EGR solenoid high, which is your 12 volt power. And the dark green wire, that's going to be your ground wire. And again, the control side runs off 12 volts, whereas signal runs off 5 volts.
On this car, the EGR is pretty simple to locate. It is right there on top of the cylinder head, the backside cylinder head right behind the intake manifold, and it is a linear controller. It is, so if it'll focus, you can see down there off that back exhaust manifold, there is a tube. It's right about in the center of your screen. It's wrapped in fabric. Here's this fabric that runs up to the valve. And then there is another tube that runs off the left side of it, right there, and then over to the bottom of the intake manifold. You can see it right there. So on this car, obviously these two outer pins, pin 1 and pin 5, are the solenoid control, and then pins 2, 3, and 4 are the potentiometer, the signal side, so, or the sensor side. So this one, pin 4, is 5 volt ref. Pin 2 is the ground for that. Obviously we're going to have no voltage there, and we don't. And then pin 3 is the signal output, which unfortunately none of these scan tools will connect to the Verona. We don't have voltage there either. None of the scan tools will connect to the Verona, so we cannot command it open. All right, so here we are in the car here, you got both of us, and we found on the scan tool how to command the EGR position. So we have the car idling right now. So I'm not sure how well you can hear it, but it does make a difference. It does work. So you can see it's commanded 20%. So it was idling right above 1,000. Now you're at 30%. Now look, it's idling way lower. And it doesn't sound super happy. Keep going. I'll try to rev it up. I'm gonna try to hold it at like 2,000 RPM.
Is it 50% now?
So it's at 50% commanded. Okay, the throttle's being weird on this thing, but
It's just closed.
oh, you closed it all the
Oh
way?
no, it closed by itself.
It closed by itself. Oh, there's a timer.
Huh.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. So unfortunately, we can only command it for about 30 seconds at a time. And now, so the scan tool, it won't allow us to control the EGR solenoid for another 60 seconds.
But you can see it does make a considerable difference at idle, especially because the EGR valve is not supposed to be open at idle. And when you give it those exhaust gases at idle, when it's not making a lot of power, it does not appreciate not being able to suck in nice clean air.
So over here is going to be position sensor voltage. And we have our voltmeter.
That's hooked up to the control, or the control side, the coil that is going to be changing the commanded position. So we can increase and decrease it there. So why don't you go ahead and increase it and I'll watch the voltage.
So see that went to 1.2 volts, and over here it's 2.4 volts. I'll increase that a little bit more.
And you can hear the idles decreasing. Unfortunately, the fans are stuck on, but once the voltage here is going up,
That goes up, and the position sensor voltage that also increases.
it's idling way down. It's not very happy.
That was just 0 volts.
Yeah, it just 30 seconds.
Okay.
That's all the time we got.
All right, so now we're working on the EGR on the Suzuki Verona. The EGR is right here, and it's basically the same wiring as the Buick was. So here you can see EGR solenoid, and it has the control side and the signal side. Pretty much the same as the Buick.
So we can tell, unlike the Buick, that this EGR solenoid is ground side driven, because if you look at, we're pinned in here, the EGR valve is closed because the vehicle's off. It's 12.46 volts here. We can really tell that it's ground side driven because at the other, and I don't even know which one of those is positive or which one is power and which one is ground, but you don't need to know because both of them have the same voltage. They both have 12 volts, so that means the driver is on the ground side.
All right, so we have our EGR here, and the wires are connected to power and ground on the solenoid, and we're just gonna basically do a bench test. We have it one wire connected to ground, and if we tap that, you can hear the solenoid activating.
And you can see it move.
Yep.
It works.
Yep. All right, so here we have our PCV valve for this Honda Pilot, and as you can see, it's very dirty. Should not look like this, covered in oil. But so the valve, it's internal, so it goes right in here, goes into this hole right here, and goes up to this tube. This is the PCV side. And if we come over here before the throttle body, this is a fresh air hose, so which goes into the crankcase down there.
Alright, so as you can see over here, I got the oil cap, and if you put a piece of paper on top of the oil cap, it does stick on there a little bit. I don't know if it's hard to tell or not, but that means there's a slight vacuum in the system, which it should be, because from the fresh air side, so the PCV will be sucking air through the from this valve cover into the intake, and then the air comes in through the intake. This does not have a MAC. But this is unmetered air technically that goes in through this valve cover and then out this valve cover. Down here you can see the PCV installed. That's it right there, held in place with one little bolt, and then there's a baffle inside of this valve cover, and it comes out here to keep all the oil spray and stuff away from the PCV. Comes out here, and yeah, so that's good. On this engine we don't have any blow-by. If it was blow-by, you'd see it blowing this back, like be puffing back out of that intake hole, or that valve or oil cap, and we do have adequate vacuum in the engine. Here we go, Miles. Versus Bailey. He said he'd keep coming. Stop. Watch her.
Am I good?
Watch her.
Oh no.
Bro, you didn't brake boost it at all.
I forgot to. That's horrible.